If you're struggling to keep your blood sugar under control, you might want to stop eating those so-called healthy whole grains for breakfast. I realize this advice goes against almost everything you've probably heard from your physician. However, after 3 decades in medical practice, the scientific data and the results I've seen in my patients have transformed my perspective on glucose control. So today, I want to share the practical insights that doctors rarely have the time to explain during a brief 15-minute consultation. Consider this troubling statistic. The CDC reports that over 37 million Americans currently live with diabetes, while another 96 million adults, roughly 1 in 3, have prediabetes. What is truly concerning, though, is the next detail. They estimate that over 80% of individuals with prediabetes are completely unaware of their condition. These people go about their days consuming items they assume are nutritious, even as they face unexplained fatigue, blurry vision, or numbness in their feet. In this video, we will look at 6 highly effective foods, ordered by their impact, which clinical studies indicate can help lower and stabilize blood sugar levels. By the time we cover the top food, you might find yourself quite surprised. It is an item most people do not associate with glucose management at all. It is likely sitting in your kitchen right now, and a portion of it often gets thrown in the trash. Before we discuss the details, I have a quick question for you. Please share your age in the comments and mention if you have been told your blood sugar or A1C is on the rise. I make an effort to read through the comments to understand your experiences. Your personal journey is very meaningful. Our viewer feedback directly shapes the content of these videos. In fact, today's video is a direct response to questions that many of you have submitted over the last several months. Let us begin, starting with our 6th food. Number 6 is apple cider vinegar. Before dismissing this as an old remedy, let us review what the clinical data shows. A notable study published in Diabetes Care, a respected journal in metabolic health, observed that taking 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar before a carbohydrate-rich meal reduced post-meal glucose spikes by almost 34% in insulin-resistant participants. This is a meaningful reduction. It represents a degree of change that some standard interventions struggle to match. Here is how this mechanism operates, which is particularly relevant for those over 60. The primary active component here is acetic acid. Acetic acid essentially acts like a traffic regulator for your digestive tract. It slows the rate at which the stomach releases food into the small intestine, meaning the sugar enters your circulation much more gradually. Rather than a sudden surge, you get a gentler, more managed absorption. For older adults, this slower transition is vital because insulin-producing beta cells in the pancreas naturally lose some efficiency as we age. Data from the American Diabetes Association indicates that beta cell function and mass can decrease by up to 40% in seniors dealing with type 2 diabetes. When your body's insulin response is reduced, sudden glucose spikes put a significant strain on your system. One patient of mine, Margaret, a 71-year-old retired school teacher from Baton Rouge, was managing this exact issue. When we first spoke, her fasting glucose regularly exceeded 160, and she hoped to avoid adding more daily medications. We tried having her drink 2 tablespoons of diluted apple cider vinegar in a glass of water about 20 minutes prior to her 2 main meals. Within 6 weeks, her fasting glucose measurements dropped to 118. She noted that this simple shift felt like the first dietary change that produced tangible results for her. The preparation process is straightforward. Remember to always dilute the vinegar. Never consume it undiluted, as the acidity can irritate your esophagus and affect your tooth enamel. Instead, mix 2 tablespoons into 8 to 12 ounces of water. For a helpful combination, you can add a pinch of cinnamon. Studies published in the Journal of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics show that combining acetic acid with cinnamon's key compounds can create a beneficial synergistic effect on insulin sensitivity. Moving to number 5, we have fatty fish such as wild-caught salmon, mackerel, and sardines. Many people do not fully realize how effectively these options can support blood sugar management. While we often associate fish purely with cardiovascular health and high-quality protein, it does more. The omega-3 fatty acids, EPA and DHA, play an important role at the cellular level. They help address mild chronic inflammation, which is an overlooked contributor to insulin resistance in older adults. This is a cellular pathway that isn't always explained in a standard checkup. Inflammation affects more than just your joints. Persistent low level inflammation can disrupt the pathways that cells use to respond to insulin. When inflammatory proteins circulate in higher amounts, they make it harder for insulin to transport glucose effectively into your cells. An observational study from the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health, which followed over 90,000 participants, noted that consistent consumption of omega 3 rich fish correlated with a 24% lower rate of type 2 diabetes compared to those who ate it rarely. As we get older, our biological pathways for managing inflammation can become less responsive. Cellular mitochondria, which act as energy producers, slowly lose efficiency with age. They generate more metabolic waste, which can keep the inflammatory cycle going. Omega 3 fatty acids assist in calming this baseline inflammation. Aim to include fatty fish in your meals roughly 3 times a week. A portion size of 4 to 6 ounces works well. Poaching or baking is generally better than deep frying, as frying introduces excessive omega 6 fats that may work against your anti inflammatory goals. To get the best results, try serving your fish alongside leafy greens with a touch of olive oil. The fat soluble vitamins in those greens are absorbed much better when consumed with the healthy fats from the fish. Plus, olive oil provides extra beneficial polyphenols. Our fourth item is a food that was widely misunderstood for many years. Those are whole eggs, including the yolks. Older adults were historically told to avoid the yolk due to dietary cholesterol fears. However, analysis in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition looking at clinical trials demonstrated that consuming whole eggs does not adversely impact cardiovascular health markers for most healthy individuals. Importantly, for glucose levels, research from the University of Connecticut indicates that eating whole eggs for breakfast supports steadier morning blood sugar than a grain-based breakfast with the same number of calories. Why is this detail crucial as we age? It is related to a condition called anabolic resistance. Over time, skeletal muscle requires higher quality stimuli to maintain its mass and function. This is vital because muscle tissue is actually the main site where your body utilizes and stores circulating glucose. By keeping your muscles healthy, you maintain your body's capacity to handle and process sugar. Whole eggs offer a complete profile of essential amino acids. They provide highly bioavailable proteins that help counter the muscle decline trends that occur in later decades. Consuming 2 to 3 eggs prepared with minimal added fats makes an excellent breakfast. For a helpful pairing, try seasoning them with turmeric. Adding a quarter teaspoon of turmeric introduces curcumin, which research highlights for supporting the cellular pathway that regulates how efficiently cells absorb energy. Do not forget a pinch of black pepper as well. Studies show that a small amount of black pepper dramatically enhances the bioavailability and absorption of curcumin. Before moving into our top 3 choices, if you are finding this research helpful, please consider subscribing to the channel and clicking the notification bell. We regularly share clinical evidence-backed findings tailored specifically for people navigating health in their 60s, 70s, and beyond. A simple thumbs up also helps make this educational content more visible to other older adults seeking clear guidance. Now let's return to our list. Number 3 is a heavily researched option in the field of nutritional science. Despite the research, many individuals do not use it enough. These are berries, specifically blueberries, blackberries, and strawberries, which have undergone extensive clinical observation. For instance, researchers at the University of Michigan found that the natural anthocyanins in blueberries, which give them their rich color, supported better insulin sensitivity over a 6-week period. They observed that these dietary changes could lead to physiological responses comparable to some common therapies. It is remarkable how much of an impact diet can have. The science behind this is straightforward. Anthocyanins help protect insulin-producing pancreatic cells from everyday oxidative stress. Keeping those beta cells healthy is critical for preserving natural insulin production. Including berries regularly help support the cell protection. They also support glucose transporter systems within the body. These transporter proteins act like doorways on cell walls. When your body needs to clear glucose from the bloodstream, these transporters allow muscle cells to absorb it for energy. In cases of insulin resistance, this signaling path is often sluggish. Anthocyanins assist in making those cell level transitions smoother. For seniors, berries offer a great advantage because their lower glycemic index allows you to enjoy natural sweetness without experiencing steep glucose rises. A serving of about 1 cup of mixed berries daily is often recommended in studies. Keep in mind that frozen berries are just as beneficial as fresh ones. The preservation process keeps the valuable compounds intact, giving you an affordable option all year. A highly compatible pairing for berries is unsweetened Greek yogurt. The protein and fat content help balance your glycemic response, and the probiotics in plain yogurt support gut health, which is linked to better glucose metabolism. Studies, such as one from King's College London, point to a connection between a diverse microbiome and steadier post-meal blood sugar levels. Berries and Greek yogurt combined create an excellent nutrient-dense breakfast choice. A 74-year-old retired electrician named Robert came to me seeking answers for his fatigue. He had struggled with prediabetes for 3 years, and his A1C had plateaued at 6.1 despite trying standard nutritional guidelines. He began enjoying a cup of mixed berries with unsweetened Greek yogurt daily without making any other changes. 4 months later, his A1C registered at 5.7. The results were positive enough that his personal physician called to see if he had started new clinical treatments. He had not. Number 2 represents a major insight in current nutritional science that is often underappreciated. That food is the avocado. While some might think avocados are purely high fat, that specific fat content is actually why they are highly useful. Consider what a clinical trial from Penn State University observed. Consuming 1 avocado daily over 12 weeks helped study participants decrease fasting insulin, support insulin sensitivity, and address stubborn visceral fat surrounding abdominal organs. This visceral fat reduction was about 1.6 times greater in the avocado group compared to the control group consuming equal calories. Avocados support the body's health via 3 main biological actions. First, monounsaturated fats like oleic acid help support flexible and responsive cellular membranes, making receptor pathways more efficient. These healthy fats effectively help cells open up to absorb glucose from the blood more smoothly. Second, avocados provide more potassium per gram than bananas, which assists the pancreas in its natural release of insulin. Third, they contain a compound known as avocatin B, which researchers in Canada identified as beneficial for optimal muscle cell metabolism. Since healthy cellular fat processing can naturally slow as we get older, this dietary support becomes increasingly valuable. Avocados offer clear assistance for these metabolic needs. A typical daily portion size used in studies is half to 1 whole avocado. Try incorporating it into your midday meal, as metabolic activity is typically responsive during this window. You can add it to eggs, use it on seed-based toast, or serve it simply with fresh lemon juice. A highly recommended combination is pairing it with tomatoes. Research indicates that consuming the fat in avocados together with the lycopene in tomatoes significantly enhances lycopene absorption, supporting your defense against systemic inflammation. It turns out that traditional guacamole is a scientifically solid pairing. One of my patients, Dorothy, a 68-year-old grandmother from Arizona, visited me while struggling with her glucose management. Despite strictly following a traditional low-fat diet for years, her fasting sugar levels were climbing annually. She was feeling highly discouraged by the trend. Once we discussed how healthy fats can aid insulin pathways, she was hesitant but agreed to give it a try. She started adding half an avocado to her lunch on a daily basis. In 3 months, her fasting blood sugar dropped from 142 to 109. She reported a marked improvement in her daily energy levels. She admitted she had previously avoided buying avocados altogether, believing they would harm her health due to their fat content. Hearing this highlights how historical dietary guidelines have sometimes led to widespread confusion. Now we arrive at our number 1 selection, which might surprise you the most due to its solid research footprint. As mentioned earlier, you likely have this ingredient at home, but are probably tossing the most beneficial part in the compost. This is the onion, specifically the outer papery layers that we almost always peel away and discard. Let us review what metabolic studies show about these onion components. An investigation published in Evidence-Based Complementary and Alternative Medicine observed that adding fresh onion to daily meals helped reduce fasting glucose levels significantly in both type 1 and type 2 study cohorts. These observations align with outcomes occasionally targeted by standard therapies. Furthermore, trials from the University of Southern Queensland show that extract from the outer skins inhibits an enzyme that breaks down GLP-1, which is one of the body's natural glucose regulating hormones. GLP-1 is a key focus of modern metabolic medicine. Many widely used medications are developed specifically to mirror how this hormone behaves in the body. The skin of the onion contains natural compounds that help support this same biological pathway. Key elements such as quercetin and organic sulfur compounds help support glucose uptake and healthy insulin function at a tissue level. Quercetin is also a natural inhibitor of alpha-glucosidase, an enzyme responsible for breaking dietary starches down into simple sugars. By moderating this enzyme's activity, you slow down how quickly dietary carbohydrates impact your bloodstream. This approach is highly similar to the function of certain glucose-managing prescription treatments. For older adults, this slowing mechanism can be extremely beneficial. In later years, our absorption rates can shift, sometimes making post-meal blood sugar fluctuations more pronounced. Quercetin helps regulate starch breakdown directly in your digestive system, leading to a smoother absorption process. Here is the most practical way to apply this. The highest concentration of quercetin actually resides in the outer dry, papery layers of the onion, not the center. Most of us regularly toss this beneficial layer away. To make use of them, try steeping these clean, dry skins in hot water for 10 minutes to create a basic tea. In some regions of South Korea and Eastern Europe, where metabolic issues have historically been less common, consuming onion skin extracts is a long-standing traditional practice. Sipping a couple of cups daily offers a simple way to obtain these natural antioxidants. Alternatively, you can place these dry skins into soups or slow-cooking broths, straining them out before serving. When using the inner onion itself, enjoying it raw is ideal. Thermal cooking can slightly reduce some of its delicate active nutrients. Red onions are especially rich in these compounds. Try slicing them raw over your breakfast eggs, salads, or favorite main courses. Pairing onions with healthy fats like extra virgin olive oil works wonderfully. Data from the journal Food Chemistry indicates that olive oil's compounds work to optimize how well your body absorbs quercetin. Furthermore, olive oil's natural fat structure helps keep digestion stable, preventing steep sugar rises. Working about half of a raw red onion into your daily diet is a highly supportive target. Remember to save those outer skins for hot water steeping. Establishing this as a daily habit can offer long-term nutritional support. To close, I want to leave you with an important thought. Many of you in your 60s, 70s, and 80s are dedicated to active self-care. You deserve clear clinical steps rather than just receiving more prescriptions. Empowering yourself with science-based food choices is an excellent way to maintain metabolic autonomy. This is precisely what honest nutritional research can support. I have worked with patients in their 70s who stabilized their metabolic parameters despite being told their patterns were unalterable. Others in their 80s have seen their A1C shift back into normal ranges through careful, intentional adjustments in what they eat. They discovered that the body is highly adaptable and responsive, helping them maintain their physical strength and mental sharpness through senior decades. Remember, it is truly never too late to begin. Clinical evidence shows that cellular processes can adjust at almost any age. Our metabolisms are highly responsive to targeted diet adjustments over our entire lives. Maintaining metabolic wellness plays a vital role in preserving your independent lifestyle, energy levels, and comfort. All of these goals depend heavily on reliable blood glucose regulation. These 6 foods offer simple, practical tools based on science to help you accomplish this. We have placed references for all the studies discussed in this video within the description block. Feel free to discuss these with your primary physician to find an approach that fits your personal wellness strategy. Remember, this info is for education and doesn't replace custom medical supervision. Still, the clinical research is promising, and we want you to have access to these options. If you enjoyed this research summary, please subscribe to our channel and activate the bell notifications. We upload research-driven material weekly to assist older adults who wish to play an active, practical role in maintaining their daily physical health. Feel free to comment with your age, the ingredient that surprised you the most, or whether you have ever brewed onion skin tea. I truly look forward to reading your feedback and experiences.